What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It is Thursday. Welcome back to Two in the Zone. You have myself, AC, the one and only, the GOAT, Dead Press Picks, and we have a special guest today. You see him right there on the screen on the bottom, Joe Fan out of Vegas. How you doing, Joe?
Hey, what's up, guys? I appreciate you guys having me back. Excited to learn from you guys, steal your bets, and make some money tonight.
No, we'll learn from you, man. Apparently, you're on fire right now, so that's awesome. Awesome to hear. Dad, how you doing over there in Philly?
Good, man. Yeah, excited to get Joe on the show today, and we got the NBA back, so that's a good day.
Yeah, the NBA is back. Before we get into tonight's games, guys, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, Seven Stack Sports, right there on the Twitter page. Give them a follow. They are the best book on Twitter. It's not even close. Dead and I, we've been working with them for several months, but they have minus 105 reduced juice lines. They do same day payouts if you're using cryptocurrency. I know the market's getting crushed right now, so people are probably betting a lot of crypto. And then also, like, if you're looking for odds boosts, promotions, things like that, definitely join Seven Stack Sports. And if you do, let myself and Dead Prez know. We'll give you free VIP. Simple as that. All right, Dead, anything I missed before we move on?
I think you got it all. I think it's time to get into the NBA for the night.
Let's do it, man. You want me to run down the games, or do you want to list them out?
Yeah, I could list them out for you guys. We could kind of bounce them around. Let's start in Detroit because we were talking about this one before. So we got the Cavs and the Pistons. We know the Cavs, a few guys out of the lineup tonight. So the line at still a +6 here in favor of the Cavs, total at 208.5. Joe, we'll start with you for this one. Do you have any thoughts on this game? And I know it's not always fun betting Pistons games, but maybe you could find a side in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to you guys for NBA a lot because I'll be honest with you, I can't figure out sides in the NBA. I feel like I am wrong every single time. I'm amazed by you guys, the way you're able to pull together sides and feel confident about it, because I'm curious for your process, which is a part of the reason why I want to be a part of this stream, because to me, it's like I'm on the wrong side of whether I underreact or overreact to an injury. Darius Garland is obviously the big one where he's not playing in this game. So I'm sort of navigate through. To me, it just seems so obvious the Cavs are the better team, even without Darius Garland, that I have a hard time banking on the Pistons. But you look at, we thought that against the Celtics, they beat the Celtics out right before the All-Star break. So, to me, like, you throw Cavs money line in with Nuggets or something and try to get.
Don't do that. Don't do any parlays. Don't do any parlays.
See, that's why to me it's like throw together some chalk favorites and get it to even money and see if it works. But I don't have a lean in terms of the spread on this one.
Okay. Right. Dad, I'll go ahead and attack this one first. I actually like the Pistons a lot. I think, Dad, you and I were kind of talking about it offline. Sure, there's some reaction news to Darius Garland as well as Caris LeVert. I think he's missing the next 1 to 2 weeks, which is going to be really tough for them because that's a lot of offensive firepower. But Detroit, for people who don't know, they're playing a lot better in the last 6 weeks. They've gotten Jeremy Grant back. Cade Cunningham kind of showed out during the All-Star weekend, winning MVP in that Young Stars game. So I think Cade and Jeremy Grant are the best two players on this court. I know Jared Allen made an All-Star game. I know Evan Mobley's probably the Rookie of the Year, but they need someone to give them the ball to kind of show out. They're not going to dribble the ball up themselves. Whereas with Jeremy Grant and Cade, they're going to have the ball inside their hands. I love the Pistons here. It started out as +8, +9 even in some books. Now it's down to +6. Of course, that is reaction to Garland and LeVert out, but I think the better team without those two players is the Pistons tonight. Dad, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the Pistons here with you. See, I think it's a good spot for them at home. Kind of missing those two key pieces too for Cleveland, and like you said, they're actually playing decent as of late. Well, heading into the All-Star break, so I like getting the points here at home. I'm not a huge advocate of betting on the Pistons, obviously, but in this spot tonight, I think it's a good spot. It's a good time to back Detroit. So I will also.
For those who don't know, the Pistons are terrible, right? They're 13-45, but they're actually 27-31 against the spread. They're pretty decent for a really bad team. Kind of reminds me of their football team there in Detroit. Really bad record, but a really good ATS record. So
as long as you cover, right? All right. Well, this is a nationally televised game, I believe, right? The Celtics and the Nets. So this is another line we talked about just continuing to go up. It's all the way up to 9, guys, at this point. The over-under at 214.5. Do you guys have any thoughts on this one tonight? Any props maybe that we like with the Nets pretty undermanned as well?
Joe, any thoughts, or do you want me to take this one?
Well, I'm curious. Like, to me, when I look at this line, I believe in the Celtics. I think the loss to the Pistons was sort of a one-off. They are playing better basketball. I think the Derek White trade was money for them. I think they needed another guy who could stretch the floor because I don't think they had enough just perimeter shooting. Right. And I think they've been reaping the reward since making that trade with San Antonio at the deadline. I just look at how much steam has gone on the Celtics here, and this line has just ballooned up to where it's almost double digits. Do you? I guess I'll just make it a question. To me, I'd rather play this, make it a first half play than even toy around with potentially getting backdoored at the end, which is always the game you play when you have a heavy favorite. Is you just bank on them coming out playing good first half and not worry about the backdoor, or on the other side, do you say, I just have faith the better team is going to cover the number, and then you don't have to worry about potentially a sluggish start in the first half, because you see it both ways, and it sort of seems like sometimes you can be damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, that's a great question. That first half read is actually, I call that the Dead Press special. He loves getting the shorter favorite in the first half. Dead, are you on the Celtics in the first half in this game?
I'm not. I actually like the Nets full game. Just kind of what Joe was saying, how much it's ballooned up. I think 9's a lot here at home, and I know they're pretty undermanned, but I still think that they can get to this number. You mentioned some backdoor chances. If I were to play the Celtics, though, I would take them the first half. It could be one of those games, too, we talk about all the time, where the favorite gets first half, dog gets the full game. It's a lot of points here in this spot. So I think even though it's, we obviously know the Nets stars are out, right? KD, Kyrie, and we don't know when Ben's coming back at this point.
I thought you were going to say he's not a star.
Well, yeah, I would list him as a role player, but the spot here for me is the Nets. If I were going to play the Celtics, I would do a first quarter or first half bet, though.
Okay. Yeah, just to piggyback off what Joe was saying, the Celtics are playing, amazing. Obviously, they lost that game right before the All-Star break, but they had won 9 in a row. I think they've won now 10 of last 11. And then you have two teams moving in opposite directions, right? The Nets are sliding. They were in first place just a few weeks ago. Now they are I believe, in a play-in spot. Yeah. It's really hard to back a team without 3 of their best players. But I agree with Dad. I think the steam here is too much. I'm never going to chase the steam.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move it along here. Pretty good game, the Hawks and the Bulls. This is one I've seen a lot of people asking in the comments about, and just in general today on Twitter. So the Bulls here at 3.5. They hit the All-Star break pretty hot, right? I believe they won 5 in a row heading into the All-Star break. Hawks kind of turned around their season in the last month or so, putting themselves into a play-in position currently. But the line here, 3.5, and the total is the one that catches my eye. It's 240.5. We don't see totals in the 240s much this season. I'll start with this one. I do like the under in this game, even though it's two teams who score a lot of points. Last time I took a 240 under, though, it went into overtime, so a little scarred by that. But I do think that we can get there in this game. What's your guys' thoughts on this one tonight? As far as the side, I think it's tricky. I mean, I almost think it's a Hawks read for me, but I'm going to stay on the total on this one.
Yeah, for me, I mean, the All-Star break kind of came at a bad time for DeMar DeRozan. For those who don't remember, he had 8 straight games of over 35 points and 50% field goal shooting. That is the first time in NBA history. I'm hoping the All-Star break won't stop that momentum because he's been the hottest player in the league. If he comes out and plays like he did before the All-Star break, I think the Bulls run away with this one. John Collins is a big miss for the Hawks. There's going to be not enough size when it comes to Vucevic and really protecting the rim with Zach LaVine back as well. So I do like the Bulls. I know it's a little public, but I think they blow out the Hawks. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch the total. I would take the Bulls here and give the 3. It's interesting looking at this total. I think it's, if you feel like you're going to be on the side that gets steam, it behooves you to try to get it right when markets open, usually 24 to 30 hours in advance of the slate. I know with WinBet, we open our lines, so we will open it's Thursday morning. We'll open Saturday's lines.
Right.
But it is sort of I know we do it in Friday's lines. Anyway, you're like working a day ahead. So like this, you look at the total. These two teams played to what was like 248, real recent, and now I think this number was at like 235, and it's been steamed all the way up to 240. So that number just gets too sharp. I would stay away from the total unless you want to take advantage of this team and go the other way, like Matt was saying. But I would rather just take the Bulls at home. They're healthy. The stars are going to be out to play. Nikola Vucevic has been an absolute monster for them. And I know that DeMar DeRozan is deservedly getting the love. But they've sort of become a big three of their own where, Vucevic is sort of thought of as this role player, which I guess a really good role player, but they very much have become a big three that complement each other very well. I mean, he's such a versatile big that can play so well with those guards where he's not clogging up the paint. The floor is spaced. He stretches the floor with his three-point shooting in his zone. He can distribute if he needs to. I love the Bulls are a ton of fun. So also shout out to Zach LaVine, who went to my high school. So
there we go. Nice.
Albeit several years after I left.
All right, guys. Let's move it along here to the Grizzlies and the Wolves. Grizzlies have probably been the most surprising team this season, right? I mean, unbelievable first half of the year. Don't know if that can continue tonight, though. They are a short favorite in Minnesota, -2 currently with the over. Another big over-under here at 240. This one I'm staying away from on the total, but I like the T-Wolves here as a home dog. What's your guys' thoughts in this one tonight?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Memphis right now is sitting at 41-19, 40-20 against the spread. They have an elite offense. The thing that people don't realize with Minnesota is when their big three plays, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns, they have the number one offense in the league. So I think there is going to be a ton of scoring today. I think the Minnesota offense is going to be able to keep up with Memphis. They are missing Dylan Brooks, I believe, tonight, which is, a little bit of, wing depth there. If I had to bet, I agree with Matt here. I align with Minnesota, short dog. But Dead, you know how Minnesota's kind of burned me in the past. They just don't really close games out. They do it to me too. Yeah, they don't close games out really well. So maybe if you have a book that can bet just the first 3.5 quarters, Minnesota is a for sure win. But I still lean the T-Wolves. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, just bet like the first 45 minutes of the game. Find that line.
Right.
Yeah, both these teams are playing well. I mean, Grizzlies are 8-2 over the last 10. The Mavs are 7-3. Both have a top 10 effective field goal percentage over the last 10 games. So these are solid teams. You look at the edge potentially for the Grizzlies, where they've been really good on the offensive glass. They're the number one offensive rebounding team in basketball over the last 10 games. Whereas the Timberwolves defensively ranked 19th in opponents' offensive rebounding. Maybe a small edge you take there, but I do agree with you. These are two really unheralded teams in the Western Conference that sort of get forgotten about. And, I like this Wolves team. I mean, they're big three. Again, you talk about complementary basketball, who, in terms of size, skill set, play style, all of that, but also diverse in terms of what they can do. All three stretch the floor. All three can create on their own. So it feels like a coin flip game. Desmond Bane and John Moran are hard to bet against because they've played so well when they're both on the floor. But I probably would just stay away because I would probably lean Grizzlies, and I don't like taking road dogs with narrow margins. I feel like I'm missing something. So I'd probably just punt it all together.
All right, guys, let's move it along. We have how many games left here? 3 games to go. So the Suns and the Thunder tonight. We were talking about this one a little bit before. You think 10 is too many points here for the Thunder? Over under at 219. I'm staying off this one. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts.
Dead, our boy is back. Shai Gilgeous is back. He's going to team up with, our favorite rookie, Josh Giddey. Phoenix Suns, they're missing their 2 point guards. They're missing Chris Paul and they're missing Cameron Payne. So I think there's going to be a little bit of disorganization, right? I mean, Chris Paul, I think, is the best point guard in the league, especially in that fourth quarter. He's an extension of Monty Williams, their coach. So I think without him, I think they're going to struggle to close. I love the Thunder tonight. I don't know if it's going to be like a mega play, but I think the Thunder cover, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line because I like, I like big dogs like that, and I love the OKC dogs at home. Here's an interesting stat. In their last 11 games, and this is that's a pretty wide history, and that this is, I believe, the second or third season for Chris Paul in Phoenix. But their last 11 head-to-head games, Phoenix is only 3-8 against the spread against OKC. OKC plays this team really tough. I think Shai Gilgeous being back is going to be enough defense to kind of hold down Devin Booker, and then Josh Giddey is going to be able to lead the way. So give me OKC plus 10 and sprinkle the money line.
I dig it. Yeah, I want to see what Phoenix looks like without Chris Paul. To me, the fun storyline of this is you look at Devin Booker with a chance to get into the MVP conversation. And I think as good as the Suns are, even with how much of a surprise they were last year with how good they were, getting the 1 seed in the Western Conference, Devin Booker didn't get a ton of love for the MVP, which is rare for a team that is not only the 1 seed, but sort of came out of nowhere. You'd think someone on that roster would be in the mix. But Chris Paul has been so good for them, and he's getting so much credit as the catalyst for their emergence, which is fair. He's been unreal. And as much as you want to talk about LeBron James being timeless and and the longevity, Chris Paul's career is pretty sensational. I mean, the fact that he is still quite legitimately one of the best point guards in the game, one of the best closers in the game at that position, like you said. To me, I want to see what it looks like first. And I love Devin Booker, so I'd love for him to just go ham, go on a little run here of putting up, DeMar DeRozan type numbers, 35 a game, carry this team to where he can get himself into conversation. Because I do think he's deserving. I think he's sort of lost in the shuffle. I know he's an all-star every year and people love him, but he's not anywhere near the top of the billboards in terms of marketing faces of the league. And I think he's certainly talented enough to be. Part of that has to do with playing in Phoenix, but I think Chris Paul has stolen a decent bit of his thunder, no pun intended, in this game. And so, yeah, I'm hoping Book goes off, but I'm staying at 10 points on the road. This is too many.
Yep. Maybe it could be a good night for a Booker over. All right, guys, 2 games left, the Nuggets and the Kings. I like the Kings a lot here in this spot, getting 4 points. Another total that's fairly high. That's probably because the Kings don't play much defense. 234 tonight. But I like the Kings to cover this one here at home. I don't love backing them. I haven't backed them a ton this season, but this looks like a good spot here tonight. We know the addition of Sabonis coming over. It seems like him and Fox have looked good, right, in a limited time that we've seen. So I think it could be a good spot. I think the Kings actually win this one outright. Do you guys have any thoughts on this game?
I'll trust you. These are 2 teams I can't get on the right side of. I mean, I can't figure it out. There are nights when the Kings look competitive. They're a super fun team in terms of tempo, pace of play. They get up and down the floor. They're always high-scoring games. And you look at De'Aaron Fox, who, when he's on, man, that guy is automatic. He can fill it up with the best of them. But they just lay too many eggs to where I just have no idea. The Nuggets are sort of the same way, where you look at Jokic and his plus-minus and what they're at when he's on the floor and not. He's not getting enough love for MVP. He's the reigning MVP. He's putting up arguably better numbers than he did a year ago. Yeah. I'm staying away. Again, a lot of this being on here is like I just like to talk hoops, and then I also just want to learn from you guys of why you guys lean certain ways. But I have a hard time selling myself and ever betting my hard-earned money on the Sacramento Kings, period. But there is reason to like them as a home dog and a team that with Domantas Sabonis has looked better because you're right. I think you can say all you want about Tyrese Halliburton, which, and maybe they kept the wrong guard, but Fox and Sabonis is a more lethal pairing if you're trying to defend them.
Exactly. Yeah, Dad, I agree with you. I do like the Kings tonight. When it comes to, that trade that Joe mentioned, I think that both of us kind of agree that they should have kept Tyrese Halliburton, but whatever, the outcome is there. They have a better pairing now, right? They have a small and a big, which kind of fits better. And now they have 3 legit closers. I consider Harrison Barnes a really good closer in the NBA. Solid 3-point shooter as well as an over 80% at the free throw line. So you can always count on him in terms of close games. But I agree because I think Sabonis is going to make Jokic work on defense. And I think that's the biggest difference when Jokic plays other teams. He kind of can coast on defense and then he just dominates, the game offensively. But if Sabonis is going to do his thing, he could maybe get Jokic in foul trouble, which would give, the Kings a huge edge tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the Kings to get this one outright. Their money line right now at plus 150. So you can get some pretty good value there as well. But I think they do cover that 4. All right, final game of the night, guys. The Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trail Blazers. If the season were to end today, the Blazers are right there, right for the playoffs, which is pretty crazy because they're in tank mode. At least it would appear that. And like I said, right now they're right in the thick of things at the bottom of the West. They are currently the 10th seed, so they would be in right that play-in spot. But they got the Warriors tonight, and they are a heavy 10-point dog. Now, Yusuf Nurkic, right, missing some time. So, I mean, they just continue to drop this season. We know Dame's been out, the McCollum trade, Powell got traded, Covington. I mean, they are like a whole different team at this point. I like the under here at 226. I just don't know really where the offense is going to come from Portland outside of Anthony Simons. I know he's been great in the absence, but it's a tall total, and we know the Warriors really, as good as they are defensively, they should be able to hold them down here. So I like the under in this game, or the team total under for Portland, which is currently sitting at 108.5. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts.
Dad, I think this is the easiest game of the night, in my opinion. I think the Portland Trailblazers are going to cover in the first half, and then you see the patented Warriors third quarter coming out, outscoring 35-15 or something like that. So I think it's a Warriors second half play, and I think it's Anthony Simons all the way through. So he's on a streak right now, scoring over 25 points in the last five games. So look at point props as well as 3-point made props, right? He's shooting at over 10 attempts. So if you could get his 3 points made props at 2.5, 3 or 3.5, I think that's pretty good money there. So those are two of my favorite bets in this game. I think the Warriors coming off the All-Star break, they did have two guys that participated, right? Wiggins and Curry. I think they're going to come out slower, in my opinion. So I think maybe the Blazers cover or even win that first half, and then the Warriors just dominate second half.
I can't believe the Blazers have won 4 games in a row.
Yeah,
I mean, it's insane.
It is crazy.
Beat the Lakers, the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Grizzlies. I mean, they're throwing out a G League team plus Josh Hart, and Josh Hart's playing like just as well as CJ McCollum did, numbers wise, efficiency wise. And so it's not that they've even been competitive, they've been winning. So 10 points seems like a ton. I was talking to somebody who said that, this felt like a lock to them to take the Warriors over. The Warriors have been sort of a flawed team. I think of late, I think they've sort of, the big key here is that I don't know if Nurkic is going to dominate Kevon Looney and
I think
the
he's
Warriors
out.
in the
I
paint.
think he's out, so you don't have to worry.
The Warriors' catalyst has been bigs who dominate in the paint and the offensive glass, and we know Nurkic can score and distribute and all of that. But he'll collect boards, but I don't think he's necessarily going to be the nuisance on the offensive glass that's really given the Warriors fits. I mean, you watched. Going back a couple weeks, maybe 10 days, whenever it was, that Jazz game against the Warriors. And for the first half plus 5 minutes of the third quarter, it was one of the most entertaining basketball games I've watched all year. But then the size in the front court for the Jazz was just too much because it's Kevon Looney and then nobody.
Yeah.
And it's not even just from a scoring standpoint. It's just absolutely beat you up in the paint on a possession-to-possession basis. That's what we know the Warriors, Achilles heel is right now. And I just don't think the Blazers are going to be able to take advantage of that. So I agree with you. If I were to play it, and I would lay the 10 and take Golden State.
Take the Warriors here. All right, boys. I think we knocked out.
Yeah, I think that's all the games. I guess let's just go through our favorite bets of the night. I think you and I are already gonna be in alignment on the Pistons, but do you have another favorite bet that you like in tonight's NBA slate?
All right, yeah, probably after that, my favorite one would shift to. I'm either gonna say I'll stick it with the Kings still. So I know they've been a little Jekyll and Hyde this year, but I think they get it done at +4 tonight.
All right, I'll go next here, and then Joe can close this out. I like the Thunder for some of the reasons I've already kind of mentioned. Shai Gilgeous is back. Josh Giddey is playing at a Rookie of the Year level, back-to-back triple doubles. Two of the best players on OKC is in the backcourt, and Phoenix is missing 2 of their backcourt players with Chris Paul and Cameron Payne. So I think the Thunder will come out and cover the 10.5.
Yeah, the juice doesn't suggest this is the play, but I'm not going to overthink it and take the Celtics first half -5 against the Nets.
Nice.
Yeah, they're on the road, but the Celtics are a far better team. The Nets are missing their stars. What's interesting is, at least on WinBet, I'm looking right now, it's -5, but it's only at -05. The juice to 115 is on the net side. So I'm happy to take that. I think the Celtics I already took them at 25-1 following that trade, just a little sprinkle to win the championship, because I think the Eastern Conference is wide open.
Nice.
And so, yeah, to me, it's a square play, I guess, even though the number doesn't suggest it in terms of where the juice is, but that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, Dad and I were pretty big on this fade Nets train right now. In their last 22 games at home, they're only 3-18-1 against the spread. So they've been horrible at home. I think that's the worst mark in the last 22 games for any home team, including all the bad teams. So, I mean, the fade Nets train is alive and well. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you, Joe, for jumping on as a guest. We'll have you on for sure again before the season's over. Maybe a playoff show, something like that.
Cool.
But yeah, thank you so much, Dad. Thank you again. Everybody, give our sponsor 7Stack Sports a follow right there. 7Stack Sports on Twitter. Shoot them a DM. Get set up on their book. They do have -105 reduced juice lines, same day payouts if you're using crypto. And they've been partners with us for several months. So definitely reputable guys over there at 7Stacks. Again, everybody, good luck on your bets. Have a nice night.